What an extraordinary story. So you've been working in the bar for 8 months, and you'd split up from your boyfriend Chris, and on the day that you were due to start your new job as a sales executive, you woke up at 4 a.m.
4 a.m. with pains, like period-like pains.
Yeah, and so then you went to work once again, desperate to make a good impression on your first day. There was a 2-hour meeting, and you're standing up in this 2-hour meeting. How did you feel during that?
Well, I remember holding a pen in my mouth and breaking the pen, and my nails were digging into my notepad. It was every 5–10 minutes there'd be a wave of pain. I can't describe it.
And so even
which would have been a contraction.
Yeah. At that time, I didn't know it was contraction.
Even at that point, you say, right, OK, I'm so sorry. I know it's my first day, but I have to go.
I didn't wait for a reply. I just shot out the door, back to Waterloo Station.
And then you locked yourself out your house?
I did, yeah. Because I was in so much pain in the morning, I didn't realise I've left my keys on the kitchen table, and that's the point where I wanted to cry.
I'm not surprised. You had to call a locksmith. You had to wait until the locksmith
He told me he'd be about 20 minutes or so. I knew that was wishful thinking, so I just sat tight on the stairs outside my house, and yes, 2 hours later he arrived.
My gosh, so by the time you get into your house, things have really ramped up in your labour. Of course, you still don't know you're in labour, you just think that there is something seriously wrong.
It was that moment when I was considering calling the ambulance. I'm not sure why I didn't.
But you still hoovered up after the locksmith?
I did, yeah, because I knew my mum would be upset with me that I locked myself out. And there was sawdust everywhere. Well, from the door, when they drill through the door, there was sawdust everywhere.
Well, the pain was excruciating, and you actually, at times, were screaming in pain. Yeah, and this alerted your neighbour next door that heard.
It actually alerted my caretaker first.
Right.
And he was the one that knocked on the door. And but because he's a man, obviously he didn't feel like it was his place to get involved. So he knocked on my neighbour's door, he knew that she was home. So. And
so she came in to see you.
You were bleeding at this stage?
This stage I was bleeding heavily.
So did you, at that point, what did you think it was?
It crossed my mind that I may be having a miscarriage at that point.
Right, OK.
And so the neighbour, you say, I need an ambulance, and the neighbour goes out, at which point...
I have an instinct to push. Very
an overwhelming instinct to push, and the baby's head appears.
And your neighbour saw it first and said it's a baby?
No, she was actually in the kitchen when I screamed, it's a baby. Oh my God, it's a baby.
Oh my God. So what, because the beauty of pregnancy is that you have 9 months to get your head around this, to prepare, to bond, to even for the labour, to get ready for that in some way.
Yeah, no.
You had none of that.
Nothing at all.
So what was your initial emotion?
When you saw the head?
I can't describe it. I can't describe it. It was such a shock. First thing I realised, the first thing I heard was the screaming, and I was, thank God, I haven't given birth to a stillborn.
Yeah.
And it was such a relief, and I didn't even think to look at the sex. I just grabbed out of instinct. The towel was on the towel rack, and I just wrapped her up and waited for the ambulance to come. Obviously, at this point, I was distraught. I think I may have not blacked out, but phased out everything after
Just
that.
in complete and utter shock. You were both taken to the hospital. Baby, beautiful, fine, healthy. And then you have to ring your mum because your mum was working.
I know my mum works as a Crown prosecutor in Brighton, so I knew that she'd be in court, so I didn't want to phone her just in case she might have left her phone off silent. So I WhatsApped her first, and I wrote, don't want you to worry, but I need you to come to the Royal Free Hospital on your way back from work. And she's like, OK, but where am I going in the hospital? And that's when I had to call her and say, I'm in maternity.
But she'd seen you that morning?
She'd seen me that morning. She sent me off with 2 paracetamols saying, go to work, you know.
Wow. And so there's going to be people that have watched this that may not have heard of this before, this phenomenon, which is medically proven.
Absolutely.
That will be thinking, but how can you not know?
Yeah, I think it's mainly women who have had children before and can know the feeling of having a child in them.
Well, the baby moves and kicks and this, that and the other.
And I'll have to say, every time I felt a flutter or anything, I went straight to the toilet.
Right.
Straight after. So I took it down to being bad stomachs or just, you know,